What's going on, Bears fans? So the Bears have started making move towards their practice squad, as well as made a move with putting long snapper practice Patrick Scales on the injured reserve and signed a new long snapper as well. We also kind of have updates to some of the other Bears players in Kari Blasingame and more. We'll talk about it all and more right after this.
Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And so we got practice squad signings by the Chicago Bears, and luckily, one of the guys that we all wanted to stay on the team has officially signed to the practice squad, meaning he will not be picked up by another team yet. Reddy Steward was one of the first signings to the practice squad by the Chicago Bears, announced at around 11 a.m. today. They announced that Reddy Steward was signed to the practice squad. This is a guy that most Bears fans, I won't say all, I won't talk for everyone, most Bears fans wanted to see stick around on this roster. This is a guy that I think had shown enough in preseason to be able to earn a roster spot, but he is going to stick around to the practice squad. We also got Sam Roberts, Scott Daly, initially a long snapper, initially signed to the practice squad. We'll talk about him a little bit in a minute. Austin Reed, of course, we all thought would be signed there, and Samori Torre, a wide receiver so far. Stevo, when you look at this practice squad, how you feeling about the practice squad so far?
Two of the names that I wanted to be on this team is on this practice squad, which is Reddy Steward and Austin Reed. I felt like they did enough to stay here, not go anywhere else. We did thought that Reddy got sent or traded or wherever it was. We thought he went to the Panthers, but it's glad to see that we kept him here. Because you just hear the whole thing. Because even last night I didn't bring it up, but it was in the back of my mind. Like when I was hearing him talk about Ian Wheeler, I'm like, damn, you don't feel the same about Reddy? Like that's not somebody you want to keep around. But then again, when he did, when it was announced that he made the practice squad, I'm like, it makes sense that fits everything that Poe's been talking about. If he sees enough in you, he sees that you have more ceiling into your thing and like in your potential, like he's gonna keep you around. Austin, I feel like he did enough, especially that last few games especially that Chiefs games where he showed that not only do he understand, but he can run that bootleg well, he can push the ball downfield, and no matter who's on this team, he's gonna try to make a play, and he's ultimately competitive. The team likes him. He's a likable guy. He's coachable. And I felt like those two mainly on this practice squad was the first two names. I was like, yeah, they had to be on the practice squad.
Yeah, I agree with that. And so for those that don't know, so the waiver period has passed. That deadline was at 11 a.m. Chicago time, 12 p.m. Central. I'm sorry, Eastern. So what that means is that none of the Bears players except Brendan Bates were actually picked up by another team. This means Micah Baskerville, others could still be signed by the practice squad unless they sign to another team's practice squad, maybe be given an opportunity to play if a player has to be placed on IR. So when you look at the fact that like a Micah Baskerville and even a Greg Stroman Jr. weren't picked up by other teams, do you see a path maybe for those guys to come back to the Bears?
Definitely, especially with those two specifically. I think they do because what Greg Stroman knows the defense. He knows everybody on the squad. We seen him play quantity starting minutes last year when we had those secondary players that was out, and he did a pretty good job for the most part. So he's easy, and I feel like Baskerville is another one. He's easy because, like, of course, we can always use some depth at the linebacker position, even though we have a great room right now, but one of the things we know he could do, cause turnovers, and that's what he did. He caused turnovers. That's something we value. Not only did that, he ain't no loafing. He tackles properly. No penalties that I recall to him doing in any of the preseason games. So Baskerville, I feel like he before the day is over, he should be a practice squad member for sure.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, unless because, like for example, we signed Scott Daly to the practice squad initially. We turned around and placed Patrick Scales on IR. He's not going to be ready by the start of the season. So Scott Daly's moving over to the regular roster to start the season off. So unless a team has a role like that for Micah Baskerville, I kind of see a path for him to returning to the practice squad as well. It also came out late last night after we got off live that Kari Blasingame is actually probably going to be re-signed by the Chicago Bears to the same contract. So even though he was initially waived, they're going to probably re-sign him back, which could mean that Travis Homer's on his way out. So just some things going on there, to watch out for, and how the Bears roster may change a little bit. Still, even after the roster was finalized. Somebody asking where Brendan Bates signed. He was signed by the Jets. He was claimed off waivers by the Jets. So
take him.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when it came to Brendan Bates, like I could see a world in which, they try to keep him around the practice squad because Mercedes Lewis may retire, things like that. But at the end of the day, like, you can find a player like Brendan Bates in the draft. Like, it's not that I don't like him. Like, you can find a replacement for Brendan Bates. Like, it is what it is there. So
yeah, it ain't that hard to find motherfuckers that can drop open passes. So yeah, they always out there. So yeah, you can find another Brendan Bates. There's one in college right now as we speak.
That is hilarious. Broski Bear, no, he was not traded. So that was a rumor that got pushed forward. It initially started from the Sporting's news page, and somebody tweeted it out, and it took a new life. That's why I always like to, when things come up, I always like to, all right, let's trace this back. Right? That's why I have places and sources where I know if something's reported there, I can trust it. That's why when somebody put that in the chat the other day, I initially was like, I don't see this on any of my sources. So no, Reddy Steward is a Chicago Bear. He's on the practice squad. So, somebody said they just officially announced the full practice squad. So let's go ahead and see if we can react to that, if that's been fully released.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to look for.
Yeah, I figured it was cool to go ahead and go live, and then if it was announced while we were here, we would already be live to discuss it. Let's see, it's probably on ChicagoBears.com if I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's what I went to.
Let's see. Yep, let's see. Pulling it up now. All right, so we got the full list here, and Micah Baskerville is signed to the practice squad. Good call there. Theo Benedict signed to the practice squad, guard. That's there.
A good one too.
That's a really good one, because I do think the Bears see some really good promise in him. Stephen Carlson signed with Brendan Bates going elsewhere. That makes sense. Byron Coward, defensive tackle. Jake Curran. Colin Johnson, wide receiver. Everybody wanted to see stick around. Quindell Johnson, Carl Jones, James Kamara, Deshaun Mallory, Tavares Moore, Austin Reed, Reddy Stewart, Roe Torrance. That's your practice squad for the Chicago Bears. So, hey, really good acquisitions here. I'm not mad. I like all the guys. Like, everybody that I had thought about staying on the Chicago Bears roster basically is now on the practice squad. Yep. So that's a good thing. Micah Baskerville, especially with Noah Sewell already not being fully healthy, and we know he did play in the last couple preseason games. There's a chance. You just never know. So you get to keep these guys in house. They get to keep learning the system, the playbook. Keep practicing with these guys. And these are guys that went through training camp, most of these guys with you. So, they're already kind of used and acclimated to what you need to do. So, overall, really solid practice squad here by the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, I really
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just about to say, I really like the Theo Benedict and the Jake Curran signing, because just like you said, depth, not only is a depth piece, but we know notoriously, especially for our offensive line, them tackles and them guards has been getting hurt. So we know that Theo can play both sides, either guard that he could play, and mainly I think that Jake was just in case another one falls on the left side, because we have had two left tackles kind of banged up at the same time before.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, you want that depth, and that's what the practice squad is really there for. The practice squad is there for depth. They're there for guys that again can practice with your team, hence the name practice squad. That don't have to worry about the acclimation if you need to go into the bullpen, so to say, with some of those guys. So I like everybody that we kept here. I'm glad that Micah Baskerville and Reddy Steward, those two players specifically, are able to stay on this Bears roster, because these two guys I really like, man. And I hope that it just that Reddy Steward, especially being a rookie and an undrafted rookie at that he stays in this Bears system, that we bring him along. You never know, because like me, Stevo, and Bobby, and everybody have talked about, at some point this team is going to have to make. They already made a tough one with Greg Stroman. Almost every year now, you could see them have to make a tough decision on a good quality cornerback just not making the roster because of contract. And so if you can develop one in a Reddy Steward along that time, that just makes sense, man.
That, and we just starting to realize that our scouting know how to find some goddamn cornerbacks as well. No matter what pick, what round it is, we can find. I think we found him in the 6th or 7th round. So Or
Yeah.
he was undrafted. Matter of fact, he came
Yeah,
out of
Reddy
Troy.
Stewart. Yeah, Reddy Stewart was
Yeah, he
undrafted.
came out of
So
Troy, so he was undrafted. So you could really tell, like they paid attention. They probably I don't know if he was in the senior game, so maybe because we know we notorious for going back to get players that was in the senior game. So
yeah.
our scouting job is top tier. It's showing.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, the Bears secondary is one of the biggest strengths on this roster, and it doesn't seem like that's going to change anytime soon with the way that they keep finding quality secondary players here. And yeah, I mean, every team kind of has its specialty, right? And for the Bears, for over our history, is that we always find linebackers. Like we're always going to find
Yeah.
linebackers. That's just what it is. I don't know if we ever won't be able to find a quality linebacker, but if the secondary can start becoming that as well, there's nothing wrong with that at all. So.
Facts.
And Colin Johnson, another favorite from that Hall of Fame game, gets to stick around. He hasn't been healthy, but clearly he understands the system. He ran some good routes for the Chicago Bears, so being able to keep him as well still makes sense.
Yeah, and I do. I could see a world where he finds his way back to the main roster sometime during the season, because I just feel like them them last two guys on the wide receiver that made the roster, it's just up in the air. Like
Yeah.
I feel like he could come in and just shake some things up once he's fully healthy.
Yeah, for sure. Chino, yes, Colin Johnson is on the practice squad, so he is still around in the system on that practice squad. R Hunt says they need to try Sewell at defensive end. I mean, we kept 6 defensive ends on the roster. I don't know if he's gonna get that chance there, but before he get a chance anywhere, the motherfucker just got to stay healthy, bro. Like we can talk about trying him somewhere else, especially considering he's only going into his second season. But and much like Valus now is trying a different position, but first you got to be able to stay healthy, and we haven't seen that from him yet. So
I mean, I kind of understood why that people say that, but at the same time, I watched him at Oregon, and the reason why he wasn't a full-blown DN is just because he wasn't strong enough. And the main reason why he was able to do some things at DN sometimes at Oregon was because the O-line was just not quick enough. Those motherfuckers in the league are quick enough and stronger. So I don't see. Plus, the main reason was just because he was high in weight. Like y'all got redrafted him, and he was 260 pounds plus. So I think what's best for him is what Drip just said: got to stay healthy, and he probably need to lose a little weight just so he can just focus on being a linebacker. Because in the league, that's what he's going to be. I don't think there's going to be a time where he turns into a DE.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. I mean, he has upside. At the end of the day, like. If they saw considering that defensive end was such a big need for the Chicago Bears team, if they saw the potential there of him at end, I think they would have tried him out some there. Like maybe not a whole lot, but some. So the fact that we didn't hear that may mean where the Bears see him at least right now. Doesn't mean it can't change in the future, but that's probably where the Bears see him right now at this point in time. So
yeah, he's gonna be a linebacker.
Yeah, he's gonna be a linebacker, and that's fine for him to be a linebacker. I don't think that's necessarily a bad.
That's best for him. Yeah.
We just got to continue to see the development, and Noah Sewell just got to stay healthy, man. Like I see so much potential in Noah Sewell. He just got to stay healthy, bro.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Best ability is availability, and you ain't been available to see if you can even do linebacker shit. So yeah, just stay healthy. Focus on staying healthy, be in the best shape as possible, and that's all we need to worry about.
Yeah, for sure. Any other thoughts or anything out of this practice squad or anything else, Stevo?
Perfect way to end off camp. Perfect way to get ready for the season. We a week away. Everything I wanted happened. I have no complaints. Like there's very few times. This is a rare time in my life where I'm going to a season fucking happy for the most part.
You never gonna beat the allegations, bro. You never gonna beat the allegations, bro.
Probably not for the Bulls, no, because I don't. There's no brightness at the end of that damn tunnel. It's just darkness.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. But yeah, that's it, man. If any other news drops, we will drop the Chicago Bears. I have a player in Stromberg that I hope that the Bears do claim off waivers, but I don't know if he was claimed off. Let's see. Let me see real quick. I don't know if he was.
Stromberg. Why is that name sound so familiar?
Because this guy that we actually talked about the Bears drafting in 2023. We had him as one of the guys that we'd like to see the Bears draft. He's a center, young center out of Arkansas. He got waived and
I remember the Arkansas the center. Yeah. Did he get what team did he get waived from? Was it Washington?
He got waived from the Washington Commanders. Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
so
like that. That's something you should definitely, just because still, like, even though for the most part people have kind of calmed down on the O-line position, I will still like Mo Def at that center position for sure.
yeah, for sure. Especially a player like him who's 23, only in the second year, had tremendous upside, was drafted in the 3rd round. Like, you might as well take a shot at that type of talent. It's not like you don't need it. And he also can play guard. So you have a chance of
Yeah.
bringing somebody who can play multiple
I,
positions, still has tremendous upside. I do it.
I always take a chance on an SEC O lineman. I always will.
That's another thing. Yeah.
I always will.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see what ends up coming. Maybe the Bears have another trick up their sleeve before now and the end. But that's it for us for right now, man. We'll make sure that you guys, if anything else pops, if news drops, we drop. Make sure you guys are following us at Shy Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail, number to do so, 773-242-9336. We're the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. We out, y'all. Peace.
Peace.